Amendment number 1 to 6 in the names of Deputy Coppinger, Murphy, Barry, Boyd, Barrett, Kenny and Smith are been ruled out of order. Amendment 7 is out of order. Amendment 8 arises out of committee proceedings. This amendment is in the name of Deputies Coppinger, Murphy, Barry, Boyd, Barrett, Kenny and Breed Smith. Now, Deputy Murphy.
Is a point of order firstly about the ruling out of the amendment?
No, we can't take points of order at this point. It seems to me,
I mean, the fact that the ones that have been ruled out of order on the basis that...
we can't, I'm sorry, I don't want to be awkward, but we can't take a point of order and we can't get into a discussion about amendments that are out of order. They're out of order and therefore we can't have a discussion.
But I don't understand how they're out of order because they're in conflict with the principle of the bill when all they do is suggest that the Commission should discuss water poverty.
Fine. If you don't understand, if you want to come to my office and arrange for the appropriate staff and officials to brief you on why it's out of order.
Can you not tell the Dáil?
No, there's no provision here.
But the problem, you're going to push ahead now and we'll vote on this and then it'll be through, so then it'll be too late.
Yes.
Like, I've never seen such a narrow interpretation of the rules of order, really. Anything we're proposing, like we've accepted in the letter Ruth sent to you earlier, we've accepted that many of them, the ones that you ruled out on the basis of imposing or increasing a charge upon the revenue, we accept that. We don't agree with the standing order, but we accept that that's a fair interpretation or a reasonable interpretation. But in terms of the others, I don't see how, for example, calling for a suspension of water metering, how is that not relevant to the provisions of bill or in conflict with the principle of the bill? How adding in that the committee should deal with the question of water poverty, how is that not relevant to the bill or how is it in conflict with the bill? How including the option of discussing the abolition of Irish water being discussed? We're simply adding things for the committee to discuss. How possibly does it contradict the bill itself?
We could talk about El Niño if we wanted to, because just about anything can be relevant to the subject of water. No. However, it's not. The points you're raising are not relevant to the subject matter of the piece of legislation.
They are, Count Corlett.
Well, I'm afraid they're not.
Count Corlett, can I read them?
Wait, sorry.
It's very unfair to the people of Ireland for you to rule this out of order, because this is.
I am acting in accordance. I'm acting in accordance with standing orders. I am bound by standing orders.
Towards those who want to hear this debate.
Well, I'm bound by standing orders. If you don't like the standing orders, Deputy Smith, you can change
the standing orders. It's your interpretation of the standing orders.
My interpretation of standing orders is correct. Now, would you please resume your seat? No, you're deliberate. Excuse me. Please. Do not accuse me of political bias. Resume your seat, please. Resume your seat. Now, thank you. It is not provided for in standing orders that the members interrogate the chair or no. Resume your seat. We're going to proceed with those matters that are in order. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, right.
It's not fair the way you're just saying, shut up, we can't debate.
Well, I haven't told anyone, I haven't used that phraseology, but we must stick to the standing orders. I didn't write them. They have been there for quite a while, and the House has not changed them, and until such a time as the House changes them, then I will implement them. That's it. Now, do you want to speak? Do you or do you not want to speak? Do you or do you not want to speak? Do you or do you not want to speak on it? No. Yes, Deputy White Barrett.
Could we suspend the House for 10 minutes and have somebody from your office explain to us this? Seriously, I mean, we're making a genuine point that we do not understand the interpretation of standing orders here. We accept the ones that have been ruled out on the basis of the charge in the state that is compliant with standing orders. We do not understand how some of these others have been ruled out of order. We do not understand that interpretation of standing orders.
They were ruled out.
No. no, Minister, these are extra ones. These relate to effectively the terms of reference of the committee, what the committee would deal with. We brought them in after committee stage. We understand the ones that we ruled out of committee stage. We have other ones here, and we don't understand why they've been ruled out of order. And I think it's reasonable that we have an explanation, and the same applies to Deputy.
You're talking about Amendment 11 to 15 as being inclusive, as being the ones that you want.
I don't mind one way or the other, to be honest with you, but I mean, we are straying into dangerous territory here. When we consider legislation in this House, the Bills Office makes a ruling in terms of whether amendments are in order or whether they're not. If we start undoing those rulings now on the floor of the House, then I think it's, I mean, we either, why is it ridiculous, Deputy?
But the floor, Deputy, but Deputy Coppinger, the floor of the House will make the decision on these matters.
An unelected civil servant is making these decisions.
Not true. Not true. And you shouldn't make reflections on the staff of the houses.
To this unelected civil servant, obviously yes, there is.
No.
Well, obviously it's true. You must think people are completely naive that you won't accept that, for example, water metering, which is linked with Irish Water, can't be a subject of this water committee, and that some unelected civil servant decided that. No, I'm sorry, they didn't.
Deputy Coppinger, Deputy Coppinger, please resume your seat. It is not a matter for the Minister to decide. The Minister has no role, good, bad or indifferent, in deciding what amendment is in order or is not in order. Recommendations are made, recommendations are considered, and in this instance, in accordance with the standing orders well established in this House, these amendments have been ruled out of order. They are out of order, and it is not now open to us to revisit the matter, and therefore we will get on with the debate. We will get on with the debate.
This is the most restrictive interpretation I've ever seen. How is it possible?
If your purpose is to deliberately frustrate the work of if your purpose is to deliberately frustrate the work of the House, then I
genuinely, we want to debate these amendments, which are about the expert. No, it's not at all. We don't want to, genuinely. Right? We want the expert committee to be able to look at the question of water poverty. We want the expert committee to be able to look at the issue of suspension of water charges and suspension of water metering. We wanted the expert committee to be able to look at the question of refunds. That's all completely fair enough and in line with the idea that we have. The essence of the bill is suspension of the water charges and establishing a committee to look into it. Right? That's what the essence of the bill is. And all where those amendments 11 to 15 are doing is saying these are things that the committee should also look at, that are clearly part of that process. And then also amendments 20 and 2 relate to the suspension of water metering, which again, it isn't separate to the purpose of the bill. It clearly relates to water charges, the imposition of water charges. If the water meters go hand in hand with that, I don't understand how it's separate. I understand the government may oppose it, that's fine. I understand Fianna Fáil may oppose it, that's fine. But I don't understand why we can't debate it and vote on it.
Well, you can't debate it now because it's not in order.
As somebody who's brand new to all of these procedures, the Bills Office make the recommendations of what gets ruled in and what gets ruled out, but on Ceann Corla either accepts or rejects those recommendations.
Exactly.
So we are appealing to your better nature to explain to us why did you reject or why did you accept the recommendations to rule out discussion on water metering and the question of water poverty. Why did you accept that? That's all we're asking.
I'm not going to come in, day out, and give to you or any other deputy an explanation as to why I make a decision in respect of a particular question. That's here. There are no such provisions. It has never been the case. Resume your seat for a second. Well, no Ceann Corla that I know of in the past has had to come in here and explain why he or she, as the case may be, made a particular ruling. I made the ruling based upon the information provided to me and based upon my understanding of the amendment as proposed. The bottom line is, it is out of order. If you want to raise these matters in some other way, then I suggest you find some other way. But at this point, I want to get on with the legislation. We've been having this debate for 10 minutes. We can have it for another half hour, but we won't arrive at any different conclusion than the one we were at the time we started. So can we please now?
Explain to
majority of the population were ruled out of order, if they were insignificant for the people out there and the people who elected us, then I wouldn't be asking you this. These are very significant issues for many people.
Can we get on with amendment number 8, please?
You even have the side of this house. We're to be honest about it. They're significant for them also.
Can we get on with amendment number 8, please? Does anyone want to speak to?
The House should decide these things, not some invisible body in the Bill's office. It's not
But the floor, Deputy, but Deputy Coppinger, the floor of the House will make the decision on these matters.
An unelected civil servant is making these decisions.
Not true. Not true. Not true. And you shouldn't make reflections on the staff of the houses.
To this unelected civil servant, obviously yes, there is.
No.
Well, obviously it's true. You must think people are completely naive that you won't accept that, for example, water metering, which is linked with Irish water, can't be a subject of this water committee, and that some unelected civil servant decided that. No, I'm sorry, they didn't.
Deputy Coppinger, Deputy Coppinger, please resume your seat. It is not a matter for the Minister to decide. The Minister has no role, good, bad or indifferent, in deciding what amendment is in order or is not in order. Recommendations are made, recommendations are considered, and in this instance, in accordance with the standing orders well established in this House, these amendments have been ruled out of order. They are out of order, and it is not now open to us to revisit the matter, and therefore we will get on with the debate. We will get on with the debate.
This is the most restrictive interpretation I've ever seen. How is it possible?
If your purpose is to deliberately frustrate the work of if your purpose is to deliberately frustrate the work of the House, then I
genuinely can't record it. We want to debate these amendments, which are about the expert. No, it's not at all. We don't want to. Genuinely, right? We want the expert committee to be able to look at the question of water poverty. We want the expert committee to be able to look at the issue of suspension of water charges and suspension of water metering. We wanted the expert committee to be able to look at the question of refunds. That's all completely fair enough and in line with the idea that we have. The essence of the bill is suspension of the water charges and establishing a committee to look into it. Right? That's what the essence of the bill is. And all where those amendments 11 to 15 are doing is saying these are things that the committee should also look at that are clearly part of that process. And then also amendments 20 and 2 relate to the suspension of water metering, which again, it isn't separate to the purpose of the bill. It clearly relates to water charges, the imposition of water charges. If the water meters go hand in hand with that, I don't understand how it's separate. I understand the government may oppose it, that's fine. I understand Fianna Fáil may oppose it, that's fine. But I don't understand why we can't debate it and vote on it.
Well, you can't debate it now because it's not in order.
As somebody who's